Well, so far, James Rodriguez hasn't justified his €45 million price tag. That's a lot of money for someone who isn't really proven yet at the very highest level. Yes, he excelled at Porto. Yes, he's excelled for Colombia in World Cup qualifying games. But he's had a stop-start beginning to his Monaco career, and he has a lot to prove.
Well, this is one of the most promising playmakers in South America, and he really came to the fore for Porto last season. They've done terrific business again. I mean, they're probably the best-selling club in Europe, if there is such a thing. €45 million for a relatively unproven player is some fee to command. And once he gets his feet on the ground and is properly established within the team, I think we're going to see a devastating partnership between him and his compatriot Falcao.
Higuain was a notorious goal scorer for Real Madrid, and the real question was whether he could take it out of a team like that, where he is getting goals put on a plate for him by the likes of Angel Di Maria and Cristiano Ronaldo. At Napoli, he's proven himself, he's put the goals away. Many people questioned whether the whole Napoli project would fall apart after the sale of Cavani, but in truth, that with the other signings they've made and with Rafa Benitez coming in as coach, they've improved this season. They had an excellent start. Obviously, Arsenal looked heavily at Higuain, nearly put a deal in for him. He travelled to London, which we know. Arsenal went out to Madrid to speak to his people, but in the end, Arsenal just weren't willing to pay ridiculous wages, which, frankly, Napoli were.
Eu acho que sim, acho que é um jogador que é promissor, né? Jovem ainda, chegou num grande clube, está sendo montado já há algum tempo, tem uma grande possibilidade de mostrar um belo trabalho e esperamos que seja aí mais um dos brasileiros que possa estar se destacando na Europa.
The potential that he has is astronomical. The PSG did pay a lot of money for Marquinhos. He's only 19 years old, and for someone that had played under 30 professional games for Roma, it is a little bit of a risk.
He's certainly a player with the potential to become somebody as good as maybe Thiago Silva, which was PSG's thought and why they wanted to pay so much for him.
Thiago Silva is head and shoulders the best defender in the world, so he couldn't ask for a better tutor. Fellaini's transfer to Manchester United is not only one of the worst transfers this year, it's one of the worst transfers of all time.
They ended up spending far more than they budgeted for. Remember, United's first double bid for Leighton Baines and Fellaini was worth nearly as much as they ended up paying for Fellaini alone. The deal in total is going to cost them almost €100 million.
So I think obviously he's found it difficult going to Manchester United, especially for the price. He's been in and out of the team recently, he's not been in the team, and I think the fans have been on his back a little bit as well. And I think when you go to Manchester United, people might believe, oh, you go to Manchester United, it's a great football club, which it is, but the fans expect value for money, they expect you to perform and that, and if you're going for a bit of a bad patch and they're not sure about you, they let you know. So I think it's been tough for him at the moment, but hopefully he'll turn it around.
Crazy money for a player who is completely out of his depth at Manchester United, and he's too agricultural for a big team of Manchester United stature, and it's just such a waste of money.
Hugely controversial transfer, this one. Borussia Dortmund had their academy graduate extraordinaire poached from under their noses by Bayern Munich.
The timing of the Goetze deal certainly upset Dortmund on the eve of crucial Champions League semi-final. The fact that he was moving to their bitter rivals just exacerbated that.
They did get remunerated to the tune of about 37–38 million euros, but nothing really can make up for the embarrassment that they faced when Bayern triggered that release clause. He was injured right at the start of the season, so he found it difficult to get going, and also suffered a different injury in the Super Cup, obviously, against Chelsea. The longer that time goes on this season, the better we'll see Mario Götze play.
You have to remember with Arsenal, they lost at home to Aston Villa on the first day of the season. The fans were screaming for the big name signing.
Wenger was obviously taking a lot of stick for his failure to sign big name players during the summer, and then pretty much in the last knock-in, Ozil walks through the door, Arsenal season lift off.
I'm really pleased because he's coming, and he's somebody I've been calling for years, that kind of player. in respects of giving the rest of the squad and the team a boost. He's done exactly that, and he's only one person.
Well, first and foremost, this has been a galvanising signing for Arsenal, much like Dennis Bergkamp was all those years ago. It's lifted the spirits of everybody at the club.
There's no doubt that Arsenal got more than just a great player when they signed Mesut Ozil. They paved the way for other world-class players to come to the Emirates. Before that deal was done, a lot of top players would be looking at Arsenal as a club, as a destination, and not being certain. Now Ozil's there, for that money, they will take them seriously.
Neymar potentially looks a world beater, but he has to go and prove it now at Barcelona.
Ela é fundamental. Para nós atletas é fundamental. A experiência, a cultura nova, jogar com os maiores jogadores do mundo. O Neymar chegou num patamar no Brasil que ele não tinha mais para onde crescer, porque o resto não acompanhava o desenvolvimento do Neymar. Na Europa não. Na Europa ele vai ter que demonstrar agora realmente que ele é o verdadeiro Neymar. E isso quem vai ganhar somos nós brasileiros e o próprio Neymar.
Kind of transcends what he does on the pitch. It was such an important signing for Barcelona. They needed to make their mark by signing a huge player with great commercial interest in the World Cup year, especially with his tie into Nike. The fact that he's done it on the pitch alongside Messi, fitting into a very difficult team to fit into almost seamlessly, has just impressed me massively. He's done really well at Barcelona.
Santos gaining only 17 million euros out of the deal in the end. It really does kind of warp the whole picture with the Neymar situation that so much went to his agent and father with the move as well. And obviously the very fact that he still makes it into the top 10 and so high into the top 10 as well, despite only 17 million euros going to Santos, just shows the complete imbalance of the transfer itself. Aurelio De Laurentiis was very strict in terms of what he wanted. There was no playing hardball about it. In terms of the buyer, they were going to have to come up with 63 million euros or they just wouldn't get their man.
He guarantees goals. The only question mark is whether he really was needed, and with Zlatan Ibrahimovic playing so well at the moment, his goals are not as important.
They were very clear on how much they were going to pay in terms of salary to Cavani, and that he wouldn't be anywhere near what Zlatan Ibrahimovic is receiving. And so it helped to give them that extra cash that they could go as far as the buyout clause, make it to the 63 million euros, and the rest we can deal with in-house.
I am a bit of a cynic, but I think with Falcao it's quite clear that his primary motivation was money. And you just have to look at his salary, his signing on fee. I mean, it's absolutely crazy money.
70 million euros on a 5-year contract is obviously an awful lot of money. And so it was something that nobody else was going to be able to touch, especially with the tax laws in Monaco. Falcao was always going to get a much better deal from Monaco than he could anywhere else.
Quite simply, Monaco bought the greatest goal scorer probably in the game today. And I mean that as a pure goal scorer, centre forward, a poacher. Nobody seems to sniff out goals better than Falcao. On his head, his right foot, his left foot, his movement is phenomenal.
You do have to question his ambition. Yes, Monaco have an interesting project, but Falcao is 27 years old. Monaco have only just been promoted to Ligue 1. By the time that they're in the Champions League knockouts, Falcao is going to be 29 years old. So he's not going to have long left at the very, very top of the game. I think it's a shame for Falcao to almost give away two of his years at the very peak just for money.
It's absolutely unbelievable.
It was the story of the summer.
Your player is worth whatever the buying club is willing to pay.
It's an outrageous sum of money.
There's no doubt about the Bale deal. Everybody knew it was going to happen for months, effectively. The only thing that needed to be determined was the price, and it kept going up and up and up.
But that pressure of being the most expensive transfer in football history is going to play on Gareth Bale's mind. But Real Madrid don't care what they spend on players because they're reasonably assured of making most of it back on shirt sales in any case.
Do I honestly believe anyone's worth that kind of money? No. But if they want to pay that kind of money, and Tottenham got a very good deal out of it.
Gareth is certainly up there as one of the best players in the world.
Ultimately, if Real Madrid, for instance, go on to win the league and win the European Cup, Bale has a fantastic season, and turn and say, well, that's why we paid 80 million.
For me, in a couple of years' time, he has the potential to be up there with the likes of Ronaldo and Messi as the greatest the game has ever seen.